Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to everybody, no matter where you are. We're pleased to have you here watching this very special MMN PitchIT 2023 Vendor Spotlight, featuring 2 more vendors we're very excited to talk about, including some good friends who you've seen with us before. Maria Orsini, and joined as always, every one of these, Mr. Sean Lardo.
Hello, sir.
Grand Premier. I didn't look. I forgot my syllable. My syllable. Synonym. I forgot my synonym dictionary.
You were doing so well. You said the whole intro perfectly fine, which was new. And then this.
It almost sounded polished, and then I went off the cliff.
My hopes were up.
And I've been here preparing for hours. You just walked in the door.
I did. I literally walked in the door, walked straight up. Sophia made me a cup of coffee. I said, "Give me coffee." And she brought it to me. I was like, "I need it bad." Right from the airport. Yes.
Uh-huh. Oh, we appreciate Sophia for her service. And I'm very glad we didn't have to have this on the plane. Where were you coming from?
I was coming from Tampa, St. Pete area from the ASCII event. Which took place.
Nice. What are you guys doing with ASCII?
Actually, so Jerry. Jerry is the consummate, team player, especially when it comes to with our whole space. And when I wrapped up the end of last season, I talked to him. I said, "Hey," and you and I both know this very well, that ASCII was a big proponent of us doing this, of our success with OIT, even because it's a good conference to get your feet wet, have intimate conversations, but still being bootstrapped. These guys are all looking to save money, right? And he put together. The team there at ASCII was gracious enough to put together a package for startup for these vendors for much. He said, "Don't say I'm not going to say the word cheap, so I'm not saying the word cheap." Cost-effective packages.
It wasn't $399, but it wasn't $60,000 either.
Exactly. Cost-effective packages and get them coverage. That's what they needed. So that's what he did. Yeah, somewhere in the middle of that. That's all we need to know. But again, he created space for it. He gives them a shout out, spotlights them all, and he brought us on stage. He's like, "Hey, let's everybody take a picture." So the ones that were sponsoring at the event, so that the audience could see them.
I like it. And so what else, what other things? We're doing this every week. So you have, it's almost like we're touching base, seeing how they're doing, how they're progressing every week. So I have to ask, already, our first 3 rounds of these webinars, how are our friends doing so far? Like, how are they progressing?
Well, we went through they're doing well, first off, but and it's due to a few things. One is, they've all been very big. They've been very excited to learn things. They're just eager students. For one. For two, I see a lot of them pinging things off each other now, and now they're starting to collaborate, which is even better because everybody has as you see, they all have their own strengths. Right. And then, not to mention the workshops that have been taking place. They've had a lot of good workshops. One from what modes is and how that makes sense with MSPs, to for the mindset of an MSP, to even when Jay McBain was doing his on, what the current state is of everything, and talking about his 12 spheres of influence, because Jay somehow knows everything and quantifies everything. It's weird, but so it's been really good. And then doing these recordings and these live streams and everything else, their speak is really doing well too. So, and there's a lot of traction. If people aren't paying attention, all over social media, they're everywhere, and they're all doing it. It's great because it's a good collaborative class.
So let's pivot on that. For anybody joining us for the first time that hasn't seen the previous ones, go back and watch the previous ones. They're 45 to 50 minutes, 2 sets of contestants each one. The idea is we're gonna learn about them for a few minutes, and then we're going to have them give their pitch, and we'll bring everybody back on for Q&A afterward. But it's nice and collaborative. Those of you in the chat, we welcome the questions, welcome the comments. If you have experience with them, awesome. And for those that are brand new that don't know what PitchIT is, can you describe it semi-quickly?
Yes, I'll make it easy. So PitchIT itself is a Shark Tank competition, right? Hosted by ConnectWise, looking for the best of innovations for startup companies, period, right? But these vendors have to be complementary to our ecosystem, but most importantly, be able to support the MSP mission for the long haul. That's what we're looking for. The winners of the competition, the 3 finalists from the 26 contestants we have in right now, which is the biggest we've ever had, the 3 finalists will go off to IT Nation Connect, and they will pitch live in front of the hundreds of millions of hundreds of tens of people that'll be there to watch.
Do the math to reverse from the thousands that go to IT Nation. Well, depending on where something takes place, you don't know. Like you have even non-IT Nation Connect people there because people in the hotel they should be pitching to when they're out on the street. So if we were to include all of that, you could definitely get to the thousands and thousands.
My tens of views. Yes. No.
Yeah,
actually,
sure.
well, no. Actually, I'll tell you now. Last year, and Rob Scott talks about it from Monjour. He says he was there watching it, and we had a room that had over 300 seats, and the seats were mostly all filled, and they were standing all around the back as everything too. And I had 2 bars there too, but nobody really cared about the drinks. They were actually watching the competition. So
nobody cared about the drinks. They were watching the competition.
Well, they did. I mean, but not like it wasn't like they came for the free drinks. They literally were just actually watching. They actually.
Well, then we shouldn't be talking. We should be introducing our guests, shouldn't we?
I mean, you keep asking me questions, Ray, and I'm just answering.
I'm sorry for getting some of the background and making sure our audience is educated.
A long time ago, you said, Sean, read this book. They ask you answer. So I did. And now I do that.
Oh, now it's going backwards. Okay. Remind me to recommend a book to you, Giver's Gain or whatever, Go Giver or whatever. Anyway, and with that, we have 2 people to invite that are much more eloquent than us.
I could agree more. I could not agree more.
Would you like the honors or you want me to do it?
No, I absolutely love to do the honors. So we're going to bring on first, and one person of the 2 is definitely known by so many people because he's CompTIA's poster child. I mean, literally poster child, and has wrote a book
everywhere.
He is everywhere. And I finally saw him in a T-shirt once. I didn't know who he was. I didn't recognize him. He's always in a dress shirt. So
it wasn't the button-down long sleeve as per usual. No,
it was an actual T-shirt. It was anyway. So we'll bring them up though. They Juan Fernandez and Tiffany Ricks of HacWare.
What's going on, guys? How you doing? Sorry, you and my what is wrong with you? Why do you not like my actual business dress?
I didn't say hold on. I didn't say I didn't like it. I just stated the fact that the one time I saw you in a T-shirt, I didn't recognize you. I didn't know who you were.
That is true.
I was like, who's that normal person on this?
Thank you, Danny, for telling us it's Go Givers. I appreciate it.
Well, it's just called the Go Giver. It's not plural. It's just the Go Giver.
Go Givers again by Bob Berg is a great book.
Yeah,
between $3.99 and $60,000. It's between Go Getters and Go Givers. It's somewhere in the middle. Okay. So the one question I really have was Juan just as impressive in a T-shirt as he is every day in a suit of armor, long sleeve, button down?
You know what? He was
actually technically it's a button up. Button down needs a button on the collars. No button means button up. But anyway, sorry, I digress.
Thank you for digressing. That's just odd that you know that. I mean, like. Anyway,
Juan knew exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so
the answer is yes. He was equally as impressed. And hi, Tiffany, how are you? I'm sorry that you have to watch us.
Oh, this is fantastic because I didn't even know the T-shirt thing was a thing. Like I've been trying to get Juan into a HacWare T-shirt, and it seems to be a thing.
I tried to tell you, Tiffany. Like I've been doing this long enough that even the guy on the book even has it like that. Like I mean.
And which one of your books is that, Mr. Fernandez? Since,
it's the
you can put it on. You can pimp it up a little. You can pimp it out a little bit.
It's just the MSP owner's handbook. It's just
It's like if you're an MSP like this audience and you want to know how to run an MSP, that's the handbook. I like it.
Good. It's good. A handbook. Yes, it's a handbook. You're right.
And Tiffany, not only being a CEO, a female CEO in a space, which I love, being the father of a female engineer, absolutely in love with that. But you're also a little scary because you're also the chief hacker.
I am.
Right? That's so anything I say, remember, it's all on Sean. Don't put it on me. So
did you see her face when you asked that? She's like, I am.
Oh yeah, she does. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I love it when companies are driven by like engineer type people because those are my people, right? Like that. I absolutely love that mentality. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So she is the chief hacker. So let's talk about that. Why did you start the company? Tell us about you, because I think it's important. Okay. First, let's talk about you yourself, because everybody knows Juan. I don't even know why he's even here, honestly.
Yeah, seriously. To make us look good is what it is.
Right, exactly. So, Tiffany, give us some background, please.
Absolutely. So, I'm Tiffany Ricks. I'm the founder and CEO of HacWare. Prior to HacWare, I am a serial entrepreneur, but I'm a nerd. I love engineering, started in engineering. And then I worked with the Department of Defense, one of the big four, L3 Technologies, which turned into L3 Harris. And I started as a software engineer, security engineer, then moved into security research and into ethical hacking, which is why I own the title of Chief Hacker, because I did that, work with the Department of Defense, with the Air Force, the Navy, and then I decided that I wanted to own a consultancy that had a managed side of the business. Hello?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Well,
have
we
us
can
installed.
Everything went dark over here, but
we can see you and hear you. You're good. Just keep going.
okay.
Yeah.
And I started a consultancy that had a managed service side where I got the idea for HacWare because it was a service-based business. All of my other companies were product, but labor was expensive. Phishing was a top concern for many of our customers. Showing them how cyber criminals target end users was a big concern, but it was expensive. And so I wanted to build a tool in-house that learned from the threat landscape, user vulnerability, and then generatively created phishing simulations for us using product and AI versus our team doing that. And so we've been around since 2019, 2020, really. We were stealth mode in 2019 with the product, went live in 2020. And we've been building this phishing simulation security awareness platform that is insightful and smart since then.
So let me ask you on the phishing security awareness training, phishing simulation stuff. So I'm the one yelling at people like Sean to enable MFA and forcing them to do training and all that stuff. You've seen the other side. I'm not saying you're the bad side, because obviously you went down the ethical hacker route, but I'd love to hear from somebody that actually has keen visibility to that side of the world. Like, does that really matter? I get you started a company to do this, but it's different here. You get what I'm saying? I watch Scrubs. I'm talking to a doctor. Those are different conversations. So can you give us like the efficacy of these phishing campaigns? Why is it so important?
It's really important because it does a couple things. So on the business side, it's good for the organization to know what are their holes, what are their gaps. And so I didn't just do phishing. I looked at the entire attacker journey of how a cyber criminal could get in. And so the business wanted to know, like, where is our weak spot? And it was always the people. And so that was the awareness side for them. But the end user, so a lot of people make a misstep with security awareness is they think that the end user cares about it. They think some of their end users are smart and they understand what phishing looks like. And the phishing simulation is that piece that shows them and demonstrates that there is something that they need to learn. And so when you start with the phishing simulation, it increased their awareness where they realize, oh, actually, I do have a skills gap. I do need to train and change my risky behavior. And so they're highly susceptible to go ahead with the security awareness training now that they see that there is a vulnerability. But I think the problem where people make a mistake is that they're not using this as a tool for as training, as positive reinforcement. They're not communicating the why of why this is important for us as a business and for you personally. And they just go with a negative carrot, which creates negative sentiment in the organization, and
maybe that's the key to what Aaron is saying here. He's saying he can never get any of his clients to do any of the training, and maybe it's the approach, right? Maybe
it's absolutely the kickoff and the approach. Yeah, I think it's really important. I think we tell we have partners who decide their intentions are a couple reasons why they're kicking it off. Maybe they're trying to run the simulations in stealth mode to show the customer that there is a problem and they want to kick it off that way. But we recommend that before you run a security awareness training, you have to communicate the why this is important, utilize stats and statistics that apply to their business area, and then communicate what is going to happen after this if people fail and make it, a team effort.
So, Juan, kennel chief for HacWare. What the hell is a channel chief? What do you do over there, man?
He makes the magic happen.
Well, there is that. I wave a wand around and dance around in my magic little button up that Sean hates. That's what I do.
They're button up in your top hat. I mean,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm missing it right now. But for me,
God,
here's the thing, right?
For the record, I did pull out a top hat yesterday during our CDAC
so
meeting.
Look at this hat that all these kangaroos had to dye so that Ray could have.
This was a gift from the MSP
community.
Wear
that, then I'm bringing out baby.
Oh, you got Carlos. Oh boy. Okay. I'm sorry, Juan.
I got nothing.
What is that?
This is
baby Carlos from The Hangover.
From The Hangover, yeah.
I'm sorry, Juan. I apologize. Go ahead, man. What are you doing over at HacWare?
I'll wear the flower that my wife got me that she puts on my desk. My wife is so fantastic. I love her to death.
She's definitely a strong woman.
She is. Well,
very patient. Very giving.
And I'm being very patient right now with you, Sean. I'm just being honest.
I really appreciate that. If we need to. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So as far as the channel chief goes, I think that as coming from the MSP world, I understand a lot of things about the needs of an MSP because I was once one and I was a very difficult one to do business with. And the reason for that is I was very diligent about the vendors that I did business with and why. Right. And so when I was brought in here to work with the channel, which, there's the MSP ecosystem, if you will, and that's considered the channel. So for all the MSPs that are out there, my job is to interface with them and then also try to bring that mutual value. And so my participation here at HacWare has been, building out our partner program and really bringing that ingest, creating those cybersecurity sales master classes that translate from just product placement into, these new value equations for managed service providers where they actually can go and, here's the talk tracks that make sense for you to have with your customers, right? To the point we mentioned a moment ago, how do I get my customers to do it? Well, I have to instill that value, right? And so my job is to help them understand how to position that value and then also work to create programs and products that actually help them make money, right? We're all in this to do this for a reason. And making sure the margins are right and making sure that the deals are good for them and good for us. And, that we have a great product and listening to a lot of that feedback and absorbing that and sharing that with our engineering team on how we can make things better. That's really what I do. And it's a joyful job because I get to do what we say we do is educate. And then at the same time, be able to find folks like you guys out on the road and at events.
So let me ask something. There's a comment here, and I don't disagree. There's a lot of SAT companies out there. The reason I bring this up, not in a negative, in a positive, you mentioned being able to qualify your vendor, we talk about it as due diligence or, why should somebody look at HacWare versus the other options out there?
And I really appreciate that because, when I'm looking to do business, if, let's say I'm running my MSP when I was doing when I had my stack, you had to pass through certain levels to get into my stack because I wanted to be able to tell a meaningful story to my customer about why I was doing business with that particular company. When you think about the other SAT vendors that are out there, it's like, okay, yeah, it seems like there may be a number of them, but why would I do business with HacWare? And it's because we're really different, right? We're AI driven. We actually have very, patent pending technology that allows us to do direct email injection to spoof, similar to account takeover. And there's that, but then there's also the security component of why, right? It's like, okay, how does this actually, like when I go tell my customer I'm using this type of vendor, like what level of security are you? And one of the really cool things is that we're working with not just becoming a SAT vendor, but we announced our integration with Aptega, which basically allows us to be given the fact that we're actually certified compliant for control number 14 on the CIS side, right? So when you're thinking about your security stack and I'm lining up against my 18 controls, how can I show that I can save you money from an insurance perspective? And then also show that I have the actual compliance proven and also be able to measure that. And that's really where we're going, is trying to help them really make a smart conversation or give a smart, output to their customer and say, hey, these guys not only are, the type of company we want to do business with for the innovation, but they also make sense for your business as well. And here's the reasons why, and we can prove and show it in that other methodology. And there's not a lot of SAT vendors that are doing that. So there are a number of them out there that are doing something, but none of them are doing it like that. And that's where we're trying to be different.
So let me ask you, Tiffany, I got one important question. Is that a Catherine Johnson poster?
Absolutely. Good job, Dr. Zoldberg. Yeah,
Zoidberg,
Yeah.
Zoidberg. Yes,
Yeah,
that is
the-
a depiction of Katherine Johnson from the movie Hidden Figures. And I'm a big fan. I love tech scientists and brilliant women.
Shocking.
Absolutely. And yet you hang out with Sean. So no, I'm kidding.
I love hanging around brilliant people in general.
Right. So C-Ray, brilliant.
Yeah. No. She didn't say these could. There was a period and then a new sentence. Nobody's saying there was one.
She was clarifying for you. She was clarifying for you, Ray.
All right. So Dean does have a serious question or serious comment. He was saying, I love embeddable DMARC checking tools on the website. A lot of MSPs don't know how to track and monitor DMARC. Absolutely. They're still working through SPF, honestly. Why should they? And of course, I just blocked my own screen. Why should they and how can they get started?
Well, I'll answer this, but I mean, it's really important when we talk about easy things that we can do to protect our credibility. Because if we do not configure DMARC, and the reason why we put that capability on our site was we wanted people to make it easy to understand if they had that configured, and it's really easy to configure it, but many don't know that they don't have it turned on. But it's all about protecting your reputation, because that domain can be spoofed in other cyber crime. So cyber criminals can determine that their domain is easy to take and use as a part of phishing simulations. And so I've just seen way too many tech companies who don't have that configured. And so we wanted to make it easy for companies to understand that there's a vulnerability, you can mitigate that risk, and now you can protect your domain from being used in a cyber crime. Because what's going to happen is if it's a part of a cyber crime, then it's all going to relate back to you of, well, how was your domain available to be used to get our employees to go get 50 gift cards? Like, how were they able to use your domain? And the answer is going to be, well, we didn't turn on that configuration. And it's a real simple thing that every company should have their MSP enabled, because it's just one layer of defense to try to protect yourself from phishing.
Love that. All right. So we're at our time. We're at our 10 minutes. So we're going to put you guys back in the green room. Sit tight because we have another guest, but we're going to put you guys in the green room. We will bring you back in 10 or 15 minutes to do your 30-second pitch against your competitors here. And we're going to vote on it somehow. Just make it up as I go along.
Yeah.
I say this stuff and I can see Phil, the producer in the background, like shaking because like, what are you promising? All right, Sean, talk to us about our next guests.
Sure. Easily put. Again, I start off by talking about Juan being known from CompTIA and whatnot, but vCIOToolbox, they've been around for a little while. They create a lot of content. We've actually done engagements in the past on their own podcasting stuff, right? So they're very active in the space, which is good. I think it's an important piece that, if you're noticing from a theme of all these contestants, is that they're all contributors elsewhere, not for this, like literally prior to this, always contributing knowledge and their expertise and sharing things with other people, which is huge.
I mean, you're not even exaggerating the least bit. I mean, we joke about Juan Fernandez, but he's the one that was, he was my guy when I came into the CDAC. He was leading our group, passed off the baton to me and others. And, he's still serving CompTIA in other capacities. He's still doing stuff, advocating elsewhere in the community.
Absolutely.
The community appreciates when you have vendors that do that are out there.
Exactly. It's less of a selfish motivation. I mean, it probably is a selfish motivation because, Juan likes to show off all his new shirts, but this company also, same thing, so I don't want to get too far into their introduction, but let's bring on Brian Doyle and Ken Fearnley from vCIOToolbox.
What's up, gentlemen?
Guys.
How you doing?
Great to see you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. So this vCIOToolbox thing, I love tools. Need a place to put them.
So put them right in our box, man.
Put it right in the box. So we'll start with you, Brian.
Where do we go from there?
Give us a little bit about your background. Who, tell
Yeah,
us
sure.
about it.
So my background is like most of us that have become vendors, right? I was in the MSP space for almost 16 years. The majority of them, I was an MSP owner, operator, partner in a data center and MSP concern. After we had a successful exit there, I was a hired gun building a couple more data centers, but more importantly, really getting to explore kind of how MSPs work with the mid-market. So the MSP I became a part of there was really focused on co-managed and enterprise customers, which kind of gave a different level of visibility. And more to the point in a few moments, how we started building vCIOToolbox to speak more conversationally in a business manner with our clients. After I had that exit, I did a little dabble in corporate, and that's a world I hope I never see again. And after that, here we sit. We decided to take some of the things that we learned and really the way we engage with our customers and kind of build it into a process-driven application.
I'm getting messages about the box and the tools. So I just want to make sure we're clear about that. Moving on, though.
I didn't mean to take it down that way, but it happens often.
Doesn't get any better. Anyway, Ken, let's talk about you. What do you do for the company?
I've been in tech and IT and software for 25 plus years. Worked at startups, worked at Fortune 50 companies, either building products or like running IT service groups. My passion is tech that helps optimize, increase productivity, and brings value. And I think vCIOToolbox is a great tool that you talk about tools in a toolbox, and every tool in our toolbox can put money into your pocket. So I think keeping that in mind, it's fun when we see our customers be able to grow their top line, and I'm just having a great time.
So you made a statement of making money from it, right? So can we drill down on it, elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, we're all in business for a particular reason, and normally that's to generate revenue. Our product helps the MSPs that are out there trying to raise their top line, try to do things better, faster, deliver more value, keep their customers happy. There's ways to do that. There's ways to do that. You can focus on the process, you can focus on the end result. What we do is give you a suite of tools, all within one platform that allows you to take advantage of what's best for your business. Focus on customer retention, making sure they're happy, making sure that our MSP customers can deliver security services, third-party risk management, key account management. Really, we are driving those conversations. Putting proposals in front of your clients, be able to follow up, put it in a clear way so that they can act upon that. You can kind of drive the conversation. The toolbox is getting bigger, and the nice thing is, if you're into building or whatever, you don't need to pull a screwdriver out and hammer a nail in. We've got one of every tool that fits the right problem at the right time, and we're just adding more tools as we go along.
So as far as the tools are concerned, are you collaborating with other vendors on things that you're not touching?
Yeah, absolutely. The way it works is we rely on a lot of data that comes in from those other vendors in order to produce the reports that we need to do. At our core, what we're really trying to enable is the trusted advisor role with the MSP. So it's that opportunity to really get in there, understand where the gaps live in their environment, build out that roadmap that helps them better plan and forecast. And the way we get to that information and those gaps are through the integrations, and then ultimately the collaboration we do with our partners in order to get together and kind of, co-market and hit the market and make sure people understand how a joint solution can absolutely work.
So essentially, you're providing the data. You're data driven for these guys as well, because you're bringing everything together for them.
If you really break it down to the simple, vCIOToolbox now consists of two products: OnPoint Account Management and Cybrance GRC. So it's really tools for the vCIO, more that account management role that's focused on building the customer relationship, staying engaged, getting feedback, and then obviously, hopefully driving revenue through a consultative approach with roadmap. And the way we really approach that is by taking more of a business side approach to things. So we always like to say we're connecting the dots between business and technology. We use the information from the business or from the technology alignment, and we marry it with a joint strategic plan that we have with our customers so we can really show progress and show them how those technology investments are supporting those outcomes they're looking for as a business. Also letting them see where sometimes technology touches things that they take for granted as well. So they know those investments are working. So we're really trying to have those kind of conversations and use the type of data that we can get through all these tools to then synthesize and make it really simple for them, right? No tech speak. Let's go in there and talk like they talk. And then the natural outreach from that really became the vCISO module. You know, as we started seeing that the expectation from the customer was, hey, you're going to be our security guys and our IT guys. We started building tools to really help them with, you know, cyber frameworks to both prepare for cyber liability insurance, but also to make sure they had good, solid security programs in place. We're helping with, you know, getting ready for any regulatory compliance concerns they have. And as Ken mentioned, we just rolled out third-party management because we're really seeing MSPs creating new lanes of revenue with, you know, with the ability to do vCISO as a service. And we're seeing some really good returns on that from the customer or the MSP perspective. These aren't, you know, $500 add-ons. These are $3,000 to $5,000 add-ons that they're doing by building a, you know, a good vCISO or compliance as a service program.
So it's benefiting. Oh, you're muted, Ray. You're doing well.
I know you love it. I got to do it once every episode. So two things.
At
Sean,
least one.
please say hello to Keith. You know you're trying to say hello.
I'll text him later.
Hello, Keith. Thank you for joining. And then Dean has a question. I don't know why I do this. I can never see it once I put it on the screen. Dean has a question saying, what is vCIO? The term's been so overused and diluted that I have a hard time now taking it seriously. Everyone offers vCIO. What should MSPs really be doing with vCIO? I can't say I disagree with that. It's
I'd agree with it as the guy that named the company after that, right? But, you know, the reality is, you know, if we take it in the spirit, I think it was first intended. It's virtual chief information officer, which is a leader, somebody that's really helping guide the ship on what technologies we need to be successful operationally and what are the needs of the business that merge with it. Along the way, it became a little bit watered down. We definitely saw it become very much a sales role for a while. And I think it's coming back around, you know, fully back around 360 now, because people are seeing when you come at it as a sales position, people see through it. If you're just out there bringing performance stats, it's really what, you know, about you as the MSP instead about them, which a good vCIO will do. And I think if you're really looking at that, it's not just a single person's role anymore either. It's really an office of vCIO concept where you need to bring the whole team in and make it part of a bigger customer satisfaction program where the vCIO might be the advocate for the customer, but you've got your executive leaders partaking, your engineers helping support the deliverables, your success and satisfaction team staying in front of the customer. And all that put together really is kind of, you know, that leadership that the customer doesn't have on staff today, right? They don't have that person.
Well, can we actually break this down into two components though? One is the vCIO piece is what you said, a leader. They're there to manage because, as we know, they're trusted sources, right? They're supposed to be part of the executive staff. That's one piece, right? And that helps you with business continuity with the client to check on what's going on. But then on the other side is the sales component, the account management piece. So not only because if you're operating effectively, the vCIO tech people are supposed to be reporting back to account managers what they're seeing, what they should have, whatnot. So, and I don't disagree about the vCIO term has been run through the mud a lot from a lot of people because there's been a lack of effectiveness from some.
Yep.
So I think that's probably something that you're going to need to address like head on.
Yeah, I mean, there's an effectiveness and consistency gap out there, right? And that's where we're trying to make things simpler through automation and easy repetition.
So let me ask you, okay, so Keith brings up an extremely poignant, you're going to have to address Keith now, Sean. Keith brings up an extremely poignant point. Why the V? I don't get the visual designation. Should we not be a CIO, actual CIO, actually having a seat at the table, actually guiding the business? This is one of my pet peeves about the everything is virtual, everything is HD. So I might be also an old curmudgeon-y man. Or something
You are.
like Keith.
Well,
But it's a valid question, though.
Yeah, if I could jump in, I think maybe instead of V, you could even call it an F, like a fractional
Right.
CIO.
Mhm.
I mean, if you've got large enough company, Fortune 100s, you don't necessarily need to engage with an MSP per se. But for the overwhelming majority of businesses out there, they either have the right person in place or they need extra. So that fractional part, whether it's 99% or 10%, I think that's more accurate than the virtual thing, which is overused: virtual marketing, virtual this, virtual that.
So Dean's asking, who should that be? Who should that be in that seat for that vCIO? Are we talking a sales engineer, an account manager, client success? What are we doing?
Well, until you get to a certain level, because I'm looking at the $1.3 million range that's listed down there. Usually when you're sub $1 million, it's going to be the owner, right? They're holding that hat. They're still the primary person in contact. As you start moving up, I've seen two types of virtual CIOs have success in the field. I've seen the technical person who really wants to move to a management track, less of a hands-on track, wants to build their management skills, moving into that vCIO role. And they're using it as kind of a launch pad to really understanding business better and getting that business acumen they need that they can't get when they're, obviously working on projects. On the other side, you get the account manager who knows how to talk to the C-suite, who isn't coming in there just product features and is able to listen and really help with a consultative approach. So, I think what you might have heard me say in between both those things is it needs to be somebody that really can listen and then converse to the customer in the language they understand.
Awesome. Sean, I see there's another question here from Sarah. You want to take that one?
Absolutely. I think this is so applicable to what you guys do, right?
Yep.
And it's about it's about training your clients essentially, right? But I won't take it. But I see so much value in this question or this statement itself. So please address it.
The way we've been seeing it being addressed is you've got to mix up your content a little bit. When I was going in with performance-based QBRs, it kind of went like this. Oh, cool. I've never seen these stats. Something's happening. Hey, next time it's, hey, we're still doing well. We're still staying on track. At the third time, it became what's in it for me. And that's where the schedule would start to sag. So especially with the proliferance of security conversations out there today, you can really go out there one quarter and do a security and operational day-to-day review. Next meeting, maybe take it as a more executive view, but then really look at how things are managing against your strategic plan and how you're delivering on the initiatives they want to do. Third meeting could be focused on cybersecurity and really the things that you need to consider from cyber liability. And then your fourth meeting, if you're doing quarterly, is really an end of the year wrap up and starting to get the strategy plan built for the next year. Now, in all of that, you're still going to maintain the same data so the customer is seeing consistent growth, but you're mixing up the message and you're engaging them in different ways so it doesn't feel that repetition and they feel more engaged. And we have a presentation side of our system, and we've also seen that when you do it interactively where they can actually give you answers in real time and you're updating in real time, it brings them more into the conversation and they don't just feel like they're being reported out to.
Fair. Actually,
Advice.
yeah. Do you see, hey, Ray, Keith has actually a valid comment there.
Why do you seem so surprised? He's a brilliant guy.
He's a brilliant guy when he chooses to use it. So let's just give
All
it
right.
that.
So
But I agree with this.
It would mean the world to him if you read that question, Sean.
It's not even a question, it's a statement. The CIO must have business process knowledge and complement it with technology. I think far too often we sell things, not solutions or process.
Ken, you might want to take this as a former guy that was being sold to for a good part of your career and talk a little bit about what you would have wanted in that role coming at you.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, when you think about, I was at J&J for a while in one of their divisions. If you're not coming in understanding that, FDA compliance is first and foremost what everyone thinks about in that entire company, you don't even get a second meeting. Like, you're not aware of all the complexities that are going on in that industry. I've worked in a fashion and apparel company, and the different complexities around the massive supplier ecosystems, where that's an area that should be focused on. It, you don't want to have to educate somebody who comes in that door for a meeting. You want to know that they get your business. They know your challenges already. There's a lot of people that you can engage with. So the more that the CEO has that business process knowledge germane to your industry, I think the better they're going to be able to serve you and support you.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree, but I think the validity is there. The fact that you should walk into it with a process, with a business acumen.
Yep.
You should be talking, because you are actually a part of their executive staff. That's what you're signing on for, right?
Right.
If they had internal, you would be at the table.
Right.
And you would be saying, here's our investments, here's our forecast, right? That's what you were doing, right?
I mean, CEOs at larger companies, they're on the hook for everything technology related. They have a team, but oftentimes they don't have everybody they need on that team. They're relying on trusted advisors, either inside or outside. And, the whole business process piece is really important to be able to easily, provide information that a CIO can easily, disseminate and turn around and use for their, reporting out to a board, let's say. That's huge. Publicly faced companies, they have different challenges than private, and getting information that you can turn around and use easily, is super important.
So we're at time for you. We're actually going to bring up Juan and Tiffany again. Have a nice packed house. I like it.
I know.
So, Sean, I want to ask you first. You've been working with these teams for weeks already.
Mm-hmm.
How are they today? Same question I asked last week. How are they today versus when they first started with you?
I mean, well, for one, it's nice that Tiffany's the one that's actually doing the talking more than Juan. So we're clear. I like her better actually at this point. No, the fact of the matter, no, the thing is, like, as we know, and I'm starting with them on purpose because Tiffany is obviously this masterminded geek person, as she mentioned, and engineer mentality, which we know typically struggle with talking about the value add in a simplistic manner, because they want to talk about all the nuts and bolts. They get all geeked out and and then I did this thing and this thing and this thing and this thing. And that's when people go away, right? They're like, okay, that's great. It's like, right. So I will say that, from Tiffany's perspective, she's got much more concise from even the other day when we were talking about it. So, which is important, because you only have that 30 seconds. And then if they like you after 30 seconds, it takes you to 5, then it's a 5-minute conversation. And then it turns into an hour conversation. And then it turns into a Juan conversation, which is like 4 days worth.
You don't love Juan conversations? I love conversations.
I love Juan conversations. We talk all the time. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Brother. I had to do that. All right. So we're going to do something a little different here.
Hold on. Can I acknowledge vCIOToolbox first before you go on? Do you mind asking a question?
Can you do it within the next 10 minutes? I mean,
no, I'm not as concise as Tiffany. Please, for the love of God. Okay. No, but even for Brian, because Brian and I know each other for now almost 2 years now at this point.
And probably gone that long.
Yeah, at least 2 years, if not more. And I even know when we talked about that then to now and the differences in the business itself. Talking about, first off, it's a lot to unpack for those guys. To talk, it is a full business regiment they're talking about, and it's difficult. So I think you guys did a really good job of being, real clear on what you're delivering on, and even with the questions and the comments from Sarah and them, being able to address that is kind of important. It's actually extremely important, because anytime you say what you say and that's their first responses, that means you've missed something. So I'm glad to hear it, actually. And I'm not gonna say anymore. I'm done, because I'm gonna use up too much time.
You sure? You're good? All right. No.
And then there's one thing that I was no.
Yeah. No, so we're going to do something. I see some more questions in the chat. We're going to get to them, but we're going to do something a little new here. I feel comfortable with you all because you seem adequately prepared to defend your companies. I'm going to give you exactly 30 seconds on the clock to give your elevator pitch. We heard your 15-minute version. Mm-hmm. We want to hear the 30-second version, and then we will put a link in the chat for those that want to vote. And at the end, after the Q&A section, we will see who won for bragging rights, of course. On the Nodeware camp, I need to know, I'm sorry, on the HacWare camp, I apologize. On the HacWare camp, who's going to be speaking for you guys?
Tiffany.
Excellent choice. So let's get Juan off the screen for a little bit, just so we can have as much screen real estate as possible, Phil. And then vCIOToolbox. Who's speaking for vCIOToolbox?
Oh, I think you just had it there anyway. It looks like me.
Sounds good. So we'll go ahead and get you off screen. My mom would kick my butt if I didn't do ladies first. So we will bring on the screen bring this up. Tiffany, you will have your 30 seconds starting now.
HacWare is automating the tedious phishing simulations and security awareness tasks for MSPs. We're a 100% automated phishing simulation platform, which requires 40% less administrative time. This is key because 90% of attacks happen due to human error, and we're making it easy to correct that risky behavior with our insights, our micro training. You can find more about us at hackware.com/MSP.
Dang.
Wonderful, right?
That was like on point. Wow.
And to the second, too. I got to give you props there. I'm going to probably have a problem with that.
Yeah. You got the bar has been set. I love engineers. That's what happens with engineers. I'm just
No,
kidding.
but
Easier now.
that wasn't engineering. First off, that's just she's just good. Don't try to say engineers did that because she literally finished it on the zero.
Because
On
Sean
the
and I
zero.
have had this argument a million times. A salesperson will say, "Well, you can't plan for everything," and an engineer will say, "Hold my beer." So
No, that's he totally altered that. Okay, so first off, he said engineers don't make mistakes. We plan it out. And I said that's inaccurate because you have to tweak things no matter what. 100% of plans fill 100% of the time on the first time.
We iterate. We don't make
we iterate.
mistakes, we iterate.
It's not a mistake.
You know what? That's
It's
okay. That's a
first-
now we're
All right,
saying
let's. It's not about us. Let's give the man his time. All right, sir. You have your 30 seconds starting now.
vCIOToolbox is a platform that assists MSPs in becoming elevated within the perception of their customers through becoming a better trusted advisor. The way we do that is getting a unified platform of tools that allow you to better engage your customer, tell them exactly where they sit today in terms of gaps in process, system security, and training, and where they need to go in terms of budgeting and forecasting. We meet with our customers in a process that is defined by the tool so we can stay engaged, collect feedback, and reduce the amount of spend that we have to do on our own and increase your spend with your customers. See, I failed already going over the line.
You were only like 3 seconds off.
That wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad. I mean, Tiffany definitely took the cake as far as timing is concerned.
I mean, it was last word, mic drop 0. I mean, I don't know.
That was impressive.
That was impressive. All right, Tiffany, how do you feel your competitor did?
I felt like he has a lot that he has to explain, and he did a good job of communicating the various capabilities of what they're doing with their product offering. So I thought he did a great job.
That is a very charismatic and PC answer for competition. I appreciate that. I appreciate good competition. Yeah. All right. And what about you, Brian? How do you feel Tiffany did?
Well, I think I've already expressed how Tiffany did. I was getting loose before I had to do mine because she hit it right on the nail. Both. We talked about timing, but quite frankly, message as well. Very succinct to the point and helps you understand exactly what HacWare does.
Absolutely. And while Phil brings on Kevin and Juan, we're going to bring up some questions here from the chat. And just reminding everybody, go ahead and go vote. Vote for the best elevator pitch. The link is in the chat as well. And we'll announce it just before the end of the pitch. But let's look for some questions. Let's see what's going on here. We have them fangirling over your poster. We have whatchamacallit, Zoidberg saying he's a regular engineer.
Great
yes, they have good taste, right?
They do.
They have good taste. So, but Zoidberg did have a question a little further up. Okay, so now that my MSP is 50 mil plus and my target client may be a team doing this internally, how do I still do VCIO value? This is for vCIOToolbox.
So, from my perspective, it's find the gap that the customer can't answer for themselves. When you start moving into the mid-tier, into the enterprise, oftentimes it's not that they need the guidance on the full breadth of what they're doing, but they might have niche areas that they need to look at. It could be a specialty application, could be Cisco routers. It could be some area where they need assistance, don't have that expertise, and you can come in and help them by giving them the guidance they need from a consultative process, and then, of course, provide them the resources as well.
I hope that answers your question. And we have a Sean, do you want to bring this one up from Richard? This is for Tiffany and Juan.
Oh, I know this answer too, but is a training platform.
This isn't Sean's pitch. Well, it is sort of Sean's
I got
pitch.
excited. I was like, I know the answer.
All right, Sean, you're up. Go.
No, it's not my show. Tiffany, we're talking to Tiffany. Juan, thanks.
Richard, yes, the platform is white label. We make it super easy for you to upload your logo. It will totally be branded with your logo. You can change the product name where it doesn't mention HacWare. And inside of each of your end users' email, when they want to report a phishing attack, your logo will display in there. So that'll increase your brand recognition, stickiness of what you're doing from a security standpoint for your customers. So we make it super easy to white label.
Nice. I like it. There's a good question. Business wise from Aaron. Are you both channel only? We'll go with HacWare first. Are you channel only?
Yep, channel only. Started with the channel, building with the channel, and investing deeply in the channel.
Very nice. And what about vCIOToolbox?
Yeah, our tool is actually geared for you, the MSP. You actually become the holder of it, and then you're using it to do what you need to do with your customers. So we don't sell direct to end users. We're selling to the MSP, and it's your platform to then expand your revenue base with your clients.
Exactly what I want to hear from companies entering the MSP space, or in the MSP space, not entering, but you get what I'm saying.
Nobody gets what you're saying at all, but we're good. We got it.
Do I really need to bring on Keith's comment, Sean? About it? Okay. So no, what I'm saying is there's a lot of vendors in the enterprise world that come to the MSP space thinking it's an awesome, revenue generation model, and then they don't know that you shouldn't compete with the same MSPs that are selling your products. So channel only is a really big deal, and I definitely appreciate that. It's like he was. Are you preparing Keith for these questions, Sean? I'll let you ask because this is your bag.
Yeah. Well, you guys on? Are you on this ConnectWise marketplace? Is that a question for me or them?
It's a question for them. Okay. We'll start with vCIOToolbox first this time.
Yeah, we've been on the manage. We've been connected to manage for a number of years now. We've been in the marketplace probably for 2 or 3 years, and I know now we're amongst the PitchIT candidates as well. But we have I saw a question about integration. We integrate with manage and soon automate.
Okay, very good. And what about HacWare?
Am I going to answer all the questions? Yes.
Yes.
You're not going to let me talk, Tiffany. I already know they're going to shut me down and open my mouth. So.
Yes, we're a certified managed integration. You can find us on the marketplace, and I think we're giving a promo to all of the ConnectWise users. They can get access to our platform for a promo that we have there.
Very nice. Very nice.
And Ray, probably something we need to stress about this too, with that question and what it means to these MSPs. This is a certified integrator piece, right? Mm-hmm. They have to go through a ton of stuff with us to be certified itself. So essentially ConnectWise is almost vetting them out for them and giving them credibility to be part of that. Not just part of the marketplace. There's a difference between being in the marketplace itself, that's free, and being a certified integrator, which these guys all are. So take away the convenience of it too, of being able to use two tools together, but also the convenience of if you're trying to narrow down your shopping list of who to work with, it's a good thing to go to marketplace, hit whatever you're looking for, certified integrators, and that's your shopping list right there.
What is a certified integrator? You say you vet them, but what does that mean exactly?
So for ConnectWise, in order for them to be a certified integrator, they go through a series of actual certifications that require us to be involved, whether it's looking to making sure that the APIs make sense, make sure the integrations make sense business-wise, and then most importantly, a security positioning with it as well. So that we are actually doing all that before you can see them as being a certified integrator.
Gotcha. What was that process like getting onto the marketplace? I'll go with Tiffany first. What is that like getting the integrations into the ConnectWise products and being certified with ConnectWise Marketplace? Has it made an impact on your company, on the leads that come in?
Yeah, I think for us, it was a different approach because we had customers that asked us to have that integration, and so we're always listening to our customers, and when they asked, we were trying to figure out how we can start that process. And for us, it was fast. So once we figured out how we could get on the marketplace, they told us about the APIs that we needed to build. I told them that I wanted to get in there as fast as possible, but it was tough because the security process of evaluating your code, making sure that the integration works, It is a challenging process. It's not easy. And then also setting up the marketplace, communicating the value proposition takes some time. So we've seen that it's a great opportunity for us, but we came in because our customers asked for us to have that integration.
Okay. Brian, Kevin, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, that's similar to from a process standpoint, as far as the marketplace working for us. I will say definitely as we initially launched the product, we saw people coming to us because they saw us up on the ConnectWise marketplace. Today, they just like to know that we are integrated with ConnectWise and that we have the depth of the integration that we do with ConnectWise and ConnectWise Manage. That's the part that they're excited about usually.
Very nice. So this question is actually for Kevin and Juan. Since you were in the green room during the elevator pitch, I want to know your opinions. Juan first. How do you think Tiffany did?
Tiffany, she always does great, but that was clinch. She pulled up tight on that one. I was like, man, if you'd have put me up there, I might have probably ran a little over too as a natural salesperson, right?
So we picked well. Very good.
Yeah, you guys picked great there.
There you go. Kevin, what about you? How did Brian do?
I think they're great. I mean, I think Tiffany touched upon that there is a lot to kind of get out there in terms of our solution. So, being able to kind of convey that in 30 seconds, it's impressive. We need to get it down a little bit, but, when you have as many products as we have and what it does, it's challenging. So we continue.
I live where Juan lives too. We needed 60 seconds.
Yeah. Texas down here, we got a long draw.
Yeah. We got some stuff to say.
Really? Are we using the Southern drawl at this point? Is that like takes me a little longer to get to that? So a New York person would have been fine, is what you're telling me, which is why Tiffany's good.
Well, I'm from the South.
Yeah, but you're overlooking Manhattan now, so you're from New York now, so you've now picked it up.
That's not how that's supposed to work. You're supposed to go from New York to Florida so you can complain about how New York was better. Like you're not supposed to go from the South to But I get it. So we have the results in, and I want to be respectful of everybody's time. Sean, I know you're supposed to be agnostic, so I'll put you on the spot anyway. Who do you think won?
Yeah, I'm agnostic.
You're agnostic. Okay.
No, they did well. So here's what I would say right now. I think what helped Tiffany get done in the time frame too. You based your pitch around an actual percentage of something, which makes it a little bit easier. Like you already identified a problem. That's the problem. We solve it this way, and maybe it's something Brian and Ken take note of. Something, again, because you have to quantify what the problem is here within 30 seconds. That's all you have.
Yep. All right. And let's see how they did. Wrong screen. That's what happens when I try to clear the screen.
Painful.
Oh,
painful.
Yeah. That's a clear winner right there. You know what it is? I think she, besides being an excellent pitch from both of you, she ended on 0. I mean, that's like radio DJ type skills in addition to.
Well, that's, and actually, if just so you guys all know, whether it's virtual or physical pitch, when this time comes, at the end of your time, you're shut off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So when we get to the preliminaries, you're done. It's not, but luckily it's 5 minutes, not 30 seconds. But after that, and Juan knows because he judged last year on the physical, 5 minutes, you're docked. You're not winning. You will not win regardless. I don't care what you're doing, because those are the rules. That
is tough.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you very much to everyone. I see some more questions, especially about market saturation and differentiation. And the best thing I can say there is go reach out to them. Go reach out to Tiffany. Go reach out to Juan. Go reach out to Kevin and Kevin and Brian. I'm trying to switch while I'm saying this stuff.
No, I could have said that for you.
You could have, and that would have made a lot of sense, but that's not how we roll here. So, and for those of you trying to keep track of the screen, it will all be in the show notes. We'll include links to their LinkedIns and their companies. But thank you to all of you. We will have our next event with our next set of PitchIT contestants on June 29th at 1 p.m. Eastern with Simoda and Phalanx. Mm-hmm. And Sean, I know you're doing a bunch of marketing and press around these people. What are you doing next?
Well, we'll be making some more announcements up and coming or announcements, which these guys don't even know who the judges are yet. They'll be for the finals. That announcement will come up in the next couple of weeks here. We just recently announced like the other Cameo coaches and the head coaches. So we have tons going on for that part. And then even doing the ASCII, that's like it's become like a roadshow. Like literally, I'm running the carnies at this point at PitchIT at the roadshow.
Well, with that, save me a candied apple. Thank you so much for our guest today. Thanks, Sean, for co-hosting with me. To our audience, thank you for being with us and all your amazing questions. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
This has been a broadcast of the MSP Media Network.